Whoa, that was awesome.
That was pretty cool. So we just got back from Pacific Rim, and I walked into this movie thinking it would be awesome, and at the end of the movie, I'm just like, God, please be gentle. Really, it hit all the right notes, and no, I don't think it's like an Oscar-worthy kind of movie in that regard, but it is the most fun movie I have seen this summer, and really hits all the notes on my nostalgia. I mean, what? Oh, okay. You can hear us okay, camera? Okay, thank you. But yeah, I grew up with Godzilla, Power Rangers. I think I caught a glimpse of the few giant robot animes like Voltron and let's see, there's Evangelion. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, it's just obviously this movie was inspired by all those big things, you know, and it had inspiration from every action movie you could think of. But it, like I said, it was all just done to a T, and it, you know, just really knows how to be badass and when to be badass and know when to slow itself down or even be goofy at times. It's just a damn good movie. I had a lot of fun with it.
I couldn't agree with you more, pretty much, but yeah, I actually didn't have like the highest hopes at all for seeing this, but
I drug you to this movie, really.
You didn't drag me. Come on.
Yeah, kicking and screaming. This kid. No, no, you hate this director, don't you?
No, it's you that hates him.
Really, that's true. I think I hate more than half of this guy's movies.
Don't worry, but I enjoyed this movie a lot too. It's the main word to describe it is awesome, and it's
just like that scientist says in the beginning. It's 250 tons of awesome.
2,500 tons of awesome, which
yeah.
is said by Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's hilarious in this. A lot of people, a lot of the actors, Charlie Hunnam, Idris Elba, Charlie Day, as I said earlier, they all get invested in their roles very well, and it makes way for actually some decent character stuff, which I wasn't really seeing too much in the beginning, but I will address that later. The main reason that you might not like any of this guy's work is because the director is Guillermo del Toro, who is most famous for his creations of the two Hellboy movies, which we actually saw the second one in theaters, and we actually enjoyed it a lot. I probably enjoyed it more than you did, actually.
Yeah, it was okay.
And one movie that I love that you hate, Pan's Labyrinth. He's gonna just pay attention for a possible review from him later in the future. But the main gem of this guy is vision, and his visionary style is always very consistent, and there's no short of it in this movie. This movie has a lot of visual gems. He doesn't like try and hammer on the CG like James Cameron did in Avatar.
Although, to be fair, this is some of the best CGI I've seen in a very long time.
Yep, and actually, I've been saying this all night. Chris, you can back me up. This actually borrows from a lot of movies. So far, we made a list of movies that it's borrowed from. It's borrowed from The Avengers, Independence Day. I said Armageddon, but he didn't agree with me on that. Godzilla is the main.
Yeah. Well, okay. This whole movie was a homage to those giant monster movies, essentially, and you know, giant robot movies. Obviously, you know, it really is a movie that spends most of its time, I think, trying to relive those days of, you know, giant you know. Okay, I don't know the best way to say this, but you know how articulate those old Japanese monster movies, you know, those, you know, a Godzilla actually looked like a fucking monster, and actually, you know, okay, the fact that he wasn't CG and he was a guy in a rubber suit. I think this movie has come as close as it'll ever be without being a guy in the rubber suit, for as well designed and as well paced in action these monsters and robots were. They were just so. Man, I don't want to say awesome because that word is going to be overused. Really, we should take a shot every time we say awesome.
Or I should take a sip every time. Don't worry, this is water. But if I was spending the night here, this would probably be rum and coke or something. But anyways, actually, one point that you said about the monsters being like awesome to look at. Even though there are clones of these monsters, a lot of them do look pretty different, but they're not like the stereotypical monster that that is usually seen in like dragon movies or just alien stuff, where the monster is just completely dark and there's no like color contrast in it. There's a lot of color contrast within these aliens. Like the insides of them are either orange, light blue, or some sort of other color. But the blackness of the outside manages to bring out the color so you can actually see the monster and actually set yourself in its presence. So that was another touch that Del Toro did very well.
Yeah. And these things, unlike a lot of movie monsters in recent times, these things are big and they are mean. And, they actually show it. There's another thing I really hate about movie monsters is how it's like they plow through everyone and everything, and they're so unstoppable. Oh, here comes the hero, and I'm just going to do one punch and you're dead. Or one shot in the face.
The first Alien in Independence Day where
something stupid like that. No, these even when it gets to what's the main robot's name, or Gypsy Danger.
Gypsy Danger.
Yeah, even when it gets to the main robot, it manages to tear up a little bit before it gets to take it down, and which, by the way, is again really cool to watch, just to see this big football player cowboy, flat out badass looking robot just. Oh man!
But
again, it's really hard to explain without giving it away, and we are not doing this movie justice at all. I'm telling you right now, if you want a quick 5-second review, go see this movie. You will probably have fun with it. Even if you're just like, well, if there's not going to be enough monsters fighting, it's just going to be more people talking. Well, that's your loss.
And aside from our experiences, which are very positive for the most part, why don't we explain to the people who haven't even heard of this movie yet, give them a little background, a little story. The main premise is that it's set later in the future, because obviously we don't have aliens right now. Aliens have made a portal from their world to ours, and there's a giant tunnel which they call the breach. Yeah. And these giant alien monsters pop through it, and they come through the Pacific Rim, which obviously comes from the title. So most of the places they hit are along Pacific coasts like San Francisco, Chile, and the west side of South America. And they attack a lot of China and anything that's on Eastern Asia.
Okay, then what? I think they get that. But what ultimately happens is that the humans team up with Gladys for stealing her technology of using portals, and then basically go after these monsters. But then the twist is that Gladys is really looking to see control over the monsters to take over the world.
For those of you who don't get it, that's a joke to the video game Portal 2.
Portal 2?
Portal. I'm not a big gaming nerd.
Tom.
All right, you go off while I explain the rest of the story.
Okay.
So while Chris is over puking about how wrong I was, these aliens that come up through this portal called the Breach are called the Kaiju, and they are just bent on pretty much taking over the world. Of course! Sorry, Doug Walker, I kind of had to take that right away. But the humans battle back by building these gigantic robots called Jaegers, which I know some of
German for hunter.
Yes, it's German for hunter, but I couldn't stop thinking to myself throughout this whole movie. Every time I heard Jaeger, well, I kept on thinking about the drink Jägermeister. But
I kept thinking of moves like Jagger. Somebody needs to make a music video of that.
The Jaegers.
Robots dancing in the middle of the city. I got the moves like Jagger. It's like, yeah.
And who did the Gangnam Style dance?
Is that what it was? Oh, I guess you can go puke your guts out now because I was wrong.
You explain to them the rest of the story while...
I don't want to explain the rest of the story because it would give too much away.
No, but we're just... Anyways. So, and actually, a lot of the... And the main part about these robots is that they aren't individually manned like the really mini stupid robots that were in Avatar. They're controlled by two people, and
count it 1, 2.
Stop it. And the reason it's two people is because if one person is inside of it, their whole brain can't handle controlling and these robots are fucking gigantic. If you haven't seen the previews yet, these are like skyscraper high robots, and I still had a hard time adjusting to how fucking big these things are.
Although, okay, again, to give a minor complaint, I think there was a little bit of a scaling issue going on between when they were like in the factory area and then from when they were in the city. Either those are really tiny ass buildings, or these things grew suddenly out of the factory. I don't know. It's just it's weird like that. But for the most part, yeah, I love the designs of these robots. They just like the monsters, they look big and they look mean and they're bad, all out just badass. And no, it's not. No, they're not just like, if you've seen the trailers, people think, oh, so these things can just swing their arms and stuff. No, they all have their own assortment of weapons and whatnot, and it's just really, really cool. Again, I really don't want to give away much because I feel like I'd be...
You're not going to be giving away that much. Just put up a thing underneath when you edit it for spoilers.
We're not... No, this is a spoiler-free review.
Okay. Alright, I'll try to keep it.
You've already... No, look, let's not talk about the story anymore. Let's just talk about, let's see, the characters, okay? How are they?
Alright, the characters... Well, from my interpretation, there's so much story going on. For me, this is sort of the same problem that Inception had. Inception had so much story going for it that you were only able to get fully invested in one or two characters. With this one, it sort of has the same issue because there's so much backstory going on, and there's so much story involving each and every one of the characters, but you still manage to intake as much as you can with the main characters, and the side characters are mostly just there for filler, but their backstories are completely self-explanatory.
Well, not Knives. Not Knives. She serves a complete purpose.
That wasn't Knives.
Well, she reminded me of Knives with the highlights and the same face. And almost the same voice. No, it's not the same voice. But but really, it was Knives. It looked if anyone's that thinks know what I'm talking about. Knives from Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Okay,
there's an actress in this movie that looks exactly like her. So we just thought to ourselves, "Oh, that's Knives."
I thought to myself.
I was thinking the same thing throughout the whole movie.
Bullshit.
I swear, I shit you not.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
But that's my take on it. How do you think of them?
They were okay. I mean, I didn't want any of them to die, which is major props in my book. If you can make a character that I actually want to see live to the end of the movie, you succeeded. Because, again, going back to the many amateur freaking monster movies of today, none of them really have characters you give a shit about, and you just can't wait for the monster to eat them or anything else. And, you know, I will give this movie even the slightest bit of credit as they managed to even take an asshole character that's deliberately designed to be an asshole, and by the end, you're actually kind of invested in him.
And by that, you mean the co-pilot of the Striker.
Yeah.
The Aussies.
Yeah. Just... So, yeah, and, Ron Perlman is awesome.
Oh, yeah?
Take another sip, I said awesome.
Alright.
Take 2 sips, because I said it twice.
No more saying it. But, yes, Guillermo del Toro favorite, Ron Perlman, who was Hellboy.
He is Hellboy. He plays the same freaking guy in this. He's got the horns and everything. He just sits there like, monsters fighting, it's your guys' job, I don't care.
He's just sitting on the side, drunk as hell, with a giant revolver.
Pretty much.
No, but he plays this black market guy who sells these mangled kaiju parts.
Okay, don't give that away.
It's giving nothing away.
Well,
it's just saying who he plays.
Oh, okay, fine. It's just, I don't know. I kind of liked the reveal of like who he was and stuff.
Well, you saw it coming from a mile away once they brought up the person that Charlie Day had to see.
Well, yeah, I know, but still. Let's see, how much time do we have on that? 15 minutes, okay. Let's quick wrap this up. Let's try to keep this under 20 minutes. So what else do you like about this movie?
Well, obviously the visual effects are great.
Yeah.
But I actually really like the lead character. He also plays the lead on a show called Sons of Anarchy, and he's very charismatic there. And actually, ironically, Ron Perlman stars alongside him there. But anyways,
he doesn't star in this movie, but
but regardless,
yeah.
He carries a lot of charisma with him, and he brings a lot here. Even though his backstory is a little bit cliched, he still manages to bring amount of freshness to his role. And if you guys see this movie, comment on me and tell me if I'm bullshitting. But yeah, that's just what I thought. Like, his presence, it makes him actually fit in the role better, and it compromises for any other story flaws or like needless character flaws that are needed. Another thing that I really liked, the pace. Even though the pacing in the beginning is really, really fast paced, it slows down a lot, and that's in the middle is where you get a lot of the story development, the character development.
To put it simple, it really just cuts the bullshit and gives you what you want immediately.
Pretty much.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you this right now. People wanted giant monsters with giant robots. You get that within the first 5 minutes. So, you don't need to worry about that. Then again, I figure I should comment on, people are probably going to bitch and moan about how there wasn't enough fighting or there wasn't enough giant robots.
There was a perfect amount of fighting.
See, I think they did find a good balance between, action and slowing it down, basically anything that's not action, which I think any action movie should know how to do. Otherwise, it just basically becomes Michael Bay mindless fun. And
oh god, yeah. And even though this is some good old fashioned fun, there is
substance.
There is a good amount of substance in order for the fun to be meaningful. Yeah. Like, the thing with Michael Bay fun is that even though there's no point to it, it's just eye candy. With this, it's eye candy that you can actually comprehend, that you can actually go along with. It's, even though other critics have said that there isn't as much substance, there is only a certain amount needed, and it doesn't need an Oscar-winning script in order to balance out the amount of action that it needs.
Yeah.
So for us, this definitely had a good amount of substance in order to.
It had enough. Let's just say it had, and you said it best. It didn't have ridiculous amount. These aren't the most fully fleshed out characters imaginable. But again, there was just enough that it kept your attention, and of course it good substance makes the action all the better. And God, I'm just going to be repeating myself, but really, this movie just knows how to be badass, just knows how to execute everything, with the music they use, with the one-liners they say, with the, moves they use to counter this, this attack that the monster used on this guy. It's just, oh man, everything about this movie it just works. That's what I love about it so much. And, I almost thought it was the thing I was afraid most about this movie is that I was afraid it was going to be too fan pandery, which by that I mean I figured it was just going to appeal to people who like me, who grew up on this without actually giving enough for people like you who are just kind of in it for a good movie. But I think this movie actually managed to please both. At least for me, it pleased both my movie critic side and my, childhood side. Seriously, Godzilla was a childhood hero of mine, and
Hero? You liked seeing him?
Well, in the Godzilla movies, most of the time he was the hero. It was monsters attacking Tokyo, and he came in and killed them.
I did not know that.
Well, yeah.
The more you know, and knowledge is power.
Yeah. And this one, I said before the movie, is it wrong that I'm rooting for the monsters because I grew up with Godzilla? Well, no, not anymore. Jaegers all the way. But yeah, I love everything about this movie. Even just the little things from Ellen McLean, the voice of Gladys, as the AI to Gypsy Danger, who even quotes Portal. In her is like, "Would you like to try again?" It's like everybody in the theater was like,
that was
yes.
Hilarious.
It's like, and if everybody knew it.
I just found it hilarious because it was really quirky at the time.
Yeah. Also, I should say it's not full-on Gladys voice like it was in the trailer. I think that was actually said a while ago.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Ellen McLean. She has that, robotic, at least enough of a robotic filter, and anybody who plays Portal will be able to recognize it, so you'll like that. Anybody who's seen Hellboy will recognize Ron Perlman, and he's as much of a badass. Anybody who has seen Power Rangers or Godzilla or any of those monster movies and just wants to relive those days when they were awesome, you will love this movie. So that is my recommendation. I give this movie, I think, 9 out of 10, just for how much fun it was, how enjoyable it was. I wouldn't even mind going to see it again, and in 3D, because we saw it in 2D.
Yeah, and I kind of take blame for that because this movie is you have to take in so much action and so much story that you kind of have to try and embrace it all full force. But I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 because there are a decent amount of goofy parts, but like Chris said earlier, they work. It's not full.
They're not annoying, and you don't want them to die. Okay, at least for me, I didn't want them to die. In fact, I wanted a little bit more of them. I thought they were really good.
And it wasn't as annoying or goofy as Avengers.
Oh God, no.
Because
definitely not.
Because this definitely, even though it does have childish moments to at least keep it light, it still manages to keep a serious tone. And it still manages to try and keep a sturdy backbone in order to.
Yeah. Don't let the PG-13 rating fool you. It doesn't just cater to kids.
Oh my God, no.
In fact, I probably would never take a kid to see this.
Yeah, this would maybe scar them, but yeah, to quote Macklemore, "This is fucking awesome."
Funny because I was just thinking about that song. So.
Oh my God.
All right.
But if you can, see this.
Yes.
And see it as soon as you can.
Definitely.
Well, this is Mario and Luigi's. I'm kidding.
Fat, short plumber, tall, skinny plumber. It's his year, so praise this guy.
Anyways, Music Man 1012, whatever I'm supposed to be.
My buddy Tom.
All right. Hope you guys have a nice evening. Take care.
Bye.